This is the MHS Pawdcast, the online radio voice of Metuchen High School.
Hello everyone and welcome to another edition of the Metuchen High School Podcast, the online radio voice of MHS. I'm Kalegi. Today I'll be joined by Director of Bands John Messenger to promote the competition taking place this Sunday right here at MHS, the 5th annual Beats in the Borough. Then Josh Hyman will join us to discuss the early parts of the fall sports season and more. But first, here are the school announcements from Sarah Terracina. Sarah, how was your summer?
It was awesome, Eddie. The Principal's Newsletter of the month of September is now available on the school website. Click the Principal's Newsletter link on the blue sidebar of the MHS page to read it. Follow the MHS Pawdcast on Twitter at MHS Pawdcast for updates about upcoming shows and to tune in for live sports broadcasts. The club would like to thank everyone who has tuned in for the first 2 football games of the season. Lastly, there is no school on Monday, September 30th and Tuesday, October 1st because of Rosh Hashanah. That's all for announcements. Back to you, Eddie.
Thank you, Sarah. Continuing here on the Metuchen High School Podcast, the online radio voice of MHS, I'm Kalegi. Metuchen High School itself will be hosting a marching band competition this Sunday. For more information about that and how the pride of Metuchen is faring, it's great to be joined by Director of Bands John Messenger. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Eddie.
So, for people who don't know, there's an event this Sunday, Beats in the Borough. I believe it's the 5th annual here at Metuchen High School. How did it come about that Metuchen itself gets to host one of the key tournament of bands events and competitions?
A few years ago, we had a group of very excited and motivated band parents, and they said, "Hey, we go to all these great shows throughout the state. Why don't we host one ourselves?" And we never thought of it. But then we put our minds together, and with the help of Mr. Paragallo and the Board of Education, we ended up getting the facility, and it's been a tradition ever since.
And I can imagine, since you guys compete so many different places, MetLife Stadium, Hershey, all around the state, it's an amazing opportunity for people right in Metuchen to see the marching band, because aside from the football games and the parades, they don't really get to see them in the competitive aspect, and now they finally get to see them.
Absolutely. It's a great showcase for our kids and our program, and it's also a showcase for bands that are coming from different schools, some as far away as Manchester High School down in Ocean County, and as far north as Bloomfield High School. So just a chance for people in this area to see some great, not only our program, but some other great programs.
So it's mid-September, so you guys are just getting started on the season, but how is the Pride of Metuchen faring so far? Of course, you've got new freshmen, as always, new drum majors, everybody trying to mesh together. So how's it faring so far?
After a great summer, a great preseason, and a great camp, we're doing really well. We have over 100 kids in the band this year, and we have a big freshman class doing really, really great. Show is coming together slowly but surely, and each week when you come to the games or when you come to our shows, you'll get to see something new.
Now, I'm in concert bands, so I've actually heard some of the news about marching band and stuff, and I remember back in June hearing about how your first rehearsal for this coming school year was right after school ended, so you guys get started early, and you also have band camp in August. So what is that experience like, getting everyone together for a few days well before the season actually begins?
Yeah. In August, we go up to right northern Pennsylvania, right on the border of New York State, for a week, and that's really where the whole show comes together, not just the moving and the music, but just the bonding and the coming together. And it's where freshmen really get to meet the upperclassmen, and that's when we really come together as a band. And it's also a good chance for the staff, for us as a staff, to get together and make sure creatively we're all on the same page. And it's a great opportunity, but we've been going at least once a week throughout the summer, and then after camp we've been going twice a week. So it's been a long season, many hours put into the show so far, and so far we're doing pretty good.
Now, one more thing I wanted to mention about the show this year is that you have something unique. Julian Osa, who's a junior who was on the podcast before, actually was one of the co-writers of this year's piece. I mean, that must be cool, having students not only performing it, but a student helping to write it with yourself and Mr. Flynn.
Yeah, I don't know of another school, and I've been doing that. I've been in the activity for over 30 years. I've never heard of having a student actually write, and not just arrange, but his own original music as part of our field show. He goes to Juilliard Pre-College in the city, and his project last year was to write a marching band show. And after I heard it, I said, "Oh, we definitely can use part of this outside." So it's been a great collaboration between my original music, his original music, and then music by this guy named Beethoven. So between the three of us, we put together a pretty exciting package.
So you've been director of the marching band for a few years now. What is your favorite part about being director of the marching band, and what is the most difficult part?
The hours and the logistics are probably the hardest part. Just getting everything going every weekend. And being with the students, that's the best part of being a teacher in general, but getting to spend so much time with them and seeing not only how successful they can be outside, but especially when the seniors go on and seeing all the skills that they might have learned outside and how they're using them at college. Some of them, we have a senior that's graduating, and he's in the University of South Carolina's marching band, and just seeing that happen is pretty amazing.
So Beats in the Borough this Sunday. What time does it all begin here at Metuchen High School?
It's going to start at 1 o'clock. There's going to be food, there's going to be vendors, there's going to be 7 great bands from across the state. Pride of Metuchen goes on at 3:30 p.m. Stay for the whole day, eat, enjoy yourselves, and if you've never been to a competitive marching band festival, it is a unique experience, unlike probably anything you've ever seen before, just to see band after band after band doing their thing. It's like one great halftime after another.
Definitely should be a great day of music. Mr. Messenger, thanks for joining us on the Metuchen High School Podcast.
I appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
So when we come back, Josh Hyman will be joining us for the sports report, and we'll also talk about what happened during our past summer, and also we'll talk about junior year. I'm Eddie Kalegi. This is the Metuchen High School Podcast, the online radio voice, MHS. Having trouble seeing the board in class? Do you need safety glasses for your school sport? If you answered yes to either of these questions, head over to Optique Unique, the eyeglass store at 406 Main Street in Metuchen. Optique Unique does it all. Not only do they offer eyewear for all ages, they also sell sports-specific safety glasses for kids and adults. Call them at 732-321-2020. That's 732-321-2020, or visit OptiqueUnique.com. Do you want to build character, build confidence, or even build yourself? All that and more can be accomplished at the Black Belt Institute at 23 New Street, right here in Metuchen. Students of all ages have been able to learn respect, discipline, fitness, and self-defense from their experienced instructors for over 20 years. Whether you're an adult looking for stress reduction or know someone young who has interest in Taekwondo, the Black Belt Institute is the place to go. The Institute takes a fun approach at teaching the rules of self-defense, instilling in their students an I-can-do-it attitude. Interested in taking a class? Call them at 732-205-9797 or visit their website at blackbeltinst.com. Once again, that's 732-205-9797 or blackbeltinst.com. The Black Belt Institute, Metuchen's leader in martial arts and fitness. The MHS Pawdcast is also sponsored by Allstate Insurance at 63 Pearl Street in Metuchen. Allstate, are you in good hands? Welcome back to the Metuchen High School Podcast, the online radio voice of MHS. I'm Eddie Kalegi, joined by Josh Hyman. First time he's been on it this school year. Josh, you have a busy summer. How was your summer this year?
Yeah, it's good to be back, Eddie. My summer was really good. I went to a sleepaway camp for 8 weeks. Can you believe that? Yeah, it's a long time to be away, but it was really fun. I got to meet a lot of new people, from around the globe. I got to try a bunch of things I never thought of doing. Like, I became a lifeguard at camp. That's definitely something I would never have thought of doing, this summer or just outside of camp. I met a lot of really cool people from all over the world. I got to go to San Francisco. I got to go to Toronto. It was a really fun experience.
Yeah, I saw you were traveling around. What was your favorite thing you did this summer?
Like inside of summer camp, probably just like seeing all my friends again, because I haven't seen some of them in 2 years, and just meeting new people, doing things I just never would be able to do outside of camp. and making memories that I'll remember for the rest of my life is probably the best part. And I want to ask you a few things. I saw you on ESPN. What was that all about?
All right, so I got to broadcast the Little League World Series on ESPN2, the Kids Cast they did. It was through the sports broadcasting camp I'm in, the Bruce Breck camp. I got some merch. I've got the ESPN water bottle actually right here with us as we record in the Metuchen Library. So it was really fun. It was a great experience, and it was a great game. The game went almost 3 hours, and I did the game with another kid from camp, Aiden Blank, Monet Davis, who played in the Little League World Series in the past. It was really fun.
Sounds like a really star-spangled cast there.
Oh, yes.
Damn. 3 hours. That's a long time to record something, isn't it?
I know, most of the games were like an hour and a half, and then we got this long game that was 12-8, I think was the final score. So it was fun. So something else I do know you participated in this summer that I'm going to start the sports report with is the Mud Run, because, third annual, just yesterday they were doing an event where Mr. Cathcart was there, Brandon Eulig from Metuchen Media, and they presented the check to the Marissa Tafaro Foundation yesterday afternoon. Obviously, we already did a whole podcast at the beginning of the year about that, but the Mud Run is such a cool experience. What was it like on your end participating in it?
It was fun. It was actually, I think they doubled the amount of obstacles this year from like 20-something last year all the way up to 50-something this year, which is crazy. I know it still impresses me how they can set that all up and fit that all in our school. It was a lot of fun to just go out and compete. The mud is definitely not my favorite part because it gets in everything. It gets in all your clothes, it gets in your shoes, and you just have to run around all sweaty and muddy and gross for the next 3 hours. So they start the teams at different obstacles, and my team started at the biggest mud pit in the
so
obstacle course.
Sopping the entire time.
We were just disgusting for the entire thing, but it was fun. Our team worked really well together. We all had a lot of fun. I was dead tired by the end of it, but it was a lot of fun to just compete and go through all the obstacles.
So we're going to move a little into the fall sports season. It's in full swing now. It just got started. The biggest thing, probably the top story, the football team getting their first win since Thanksgiving 2017, knocking off Keyport on Saturday 20-12. Now I'll talk about it. I was doing the game, as you might have seen on Twitter, doing the Twitter broadcast of the game, and I was really blown away by this Metuchen team. A new coach in Guy Jensen. They got new uniforms. Stephen Michaelison was nominated for Player of the Week in the GMC. He was really strong at quarterback. The defense forced 3 turnovers. I mean, the team was really solid. It's really nice to see.
Oh, yeah, definitely. It does seem like there is a bit of a rebirth going on with Metuchen High School football. Like you said, there are new uniforms, new social media presence, new coach who's really trying to steer this team in the right direction. And I think if he keeps doing what he's doing, they could win a few more games. And we've seen even the size of the football team is nearly doubled since last year. Last year we only had 19 kids. Now we have over 30. And I think that's really, really saying good things about this team. There are more kids interested in it. There's a new coaching team. This school is not ready to give up on its football program like, unfortunately, a lot of other schools in New Jersey. And I think that's really good that we're trying to turn this around instead of throwing it away.
Yeah, I mean, the kids were very passionate both on the team and off the team. At the end of the game, everyone from the student section came down with the cheerleaders and the marching band to all greet the players as they came off the field. It was pandemonium when the clock hit 0 in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, that was crazy, but it really goes to show that Metuchen is not ready to give up on its football program, and we still love this game, and it creates a great atmosphere for all the students to come together and watch their friends, watch their classmates just win a game, and that's something you really can't get outside of high school sports.
So, in the fall, you play on the boys soccer team. You're on the JV team, but maybe you could give us some tidbits on this varsity team. They had a nice start. They had a loss yesterday. We're recording this on Friday, September 13th. They lost yesterday to Spotswood, but a nice start to the season, 3-1. The team's got some new leaders, some new seniors. Of course, Avi Hogan, Appel, and others graduated after last season, but I mean, I think the team's doing pretty well. You could elaborate more on that.
Yeah, the varsity team is very solid. It's captained by Arun and sorry, I can't pronounce his last name. You're gonna have to forgive me if you're watching this, Arun. So captains are Arun and Giacomo Spaziano, and they're taking this team in a very good direction. Three game win streak. But now they face a lot of away games, and that can really do a lot of stuff mentally for players if they're away for long games. for a lot of games because, you have to get on the bus and you have to drive maybe 30 minutes away and you get tired on the bus, you lose your focus, and then you have to step out on the field. And when you get there, those teams are really going to rush you to start the game. So there's very little time for you to, get your stuff on, get a team warm-up going, warm up your goalies. It's very tough playing away games, but they hung on for a bit. Unfortunately, they had a rough 2-0 loss to Spotswood the other day. Spotswood is one of those teams that both at JV and varsity level is always going to be very tough competition, and we have a very long rivalrous history with Spotswood. Unfortunately, they were not able to beat them on the road, but when they come here, let's hope they beat them because we don't want to go 0-2 with Spotswood.
Yeah, but definitely, as you mentioned, a tough stretch. 5 consecutive road games right now. So, but they do have a lot of home games towards the end of the season, so they can look forward to that.
Definitely.
So we'll shift gears now to the girls' soccer team. Obviously, this team was captained by Maya Stolarski for the past 2 seasons. Some new leadership on this team. They've been strong on and off so far this season. They have a big game actually later today against Wardlaw Hartridge. The team has a lot of youth actually in their last game. Marin Boucher, Aaron Eustace, both sophomores, had the 2 goals for the team. There's a lot of youth on the team, but it's nice to see under the direction of Coach Noth and everybody, they're doing pretty well.
Yeah. It's always really good to see that, and especially when young players are doing so well and are getting a lot of goals and being key members of the team, because that is your future. And you can't always bank on the seniors, you can't always bank on the juniors, because they're not going to be playing the JV level next year. They're not going to be playing varsity next year. So you need to ensure that your lower classmen are getting their minutes in play, are putting the work in at practice and showing results on the field. Because if you don't start seeing that in their sophomore year, you could be in big trouble. But it's really good that both the boys JV and girls JV and varsity teams have that depth, have that young experience going for them. And that's going to translate to a lot of success this year and the next coming years.
So last team we really want to touch on in this episode, we've got the field hockey team. They're strong once again. 5-0. They had 2 shutouts to start the season. They beat Monroe in their home opener. They most recently shut out South Plainfield, who's one of the teams they usually compete with at the top of the GMC. 5-0. I mean, this team is so good every year, but then when the playoffs come, things get shaky, and that's what's happened the last 2 seasons, so they got to really try to keep things going in the postseason. I mean, I know for teams, obviously, the postseason is a whole different animal than the regular season.
Yeah, definitely. Well, it's no surprise, really, that the field hockey team's doing well. We kind of expect it at this point every single year. But what you said about the postseason, it's like a whole new season when you get into it, because it's not really about who's the better team. It's about who wants it more. And when the postseason comes in, a lot of these teams, they realize if we don't win the games, our season's done. And if you're a senior, that's your last game ever played. So a lot of these teams, will start playing harder, practicing harder, just showing up and playing with more intensity.
Yeah, some extra motivation.
Exactly. And I don't want to accuse our Metuchen team of doing anything, but it seems like they may be getting a bit complacent, a bit lazy once they go off their regular season undefeated or, with an extremely high winning record. And they just get lazy in the postseason, thinking they can just beat all these teams once again. But there is that extra motivation with these other teams when you get into the postseason that just can't be ignored.
Yeah, they can't just play down to their opponents, but nonetheless, this team is stacked. They have the GMC Athlete of the Week, Noelle Leaf. We got to congratulate her on that. Isabel Wiener, Jody Zhang, Isabel Small, Ariel Benderly. I mean, there's so much talent on this team. Even when the graduating class leaves, they have new people that step in, and that's what really makes this field hockey team very strong. So that's going to wrap up today's show. Josh, thanks for stopping by.
It's a pleasure to be on here, Eddie.
All right, remember to follow us on Twitter at MHS Pawdcast for updates for upcoming shows and broadcasts. I'm Eddie Kalegi.
And I'm Josh Hyman.
And this is the Metuchen High School Podcast, the online radio voice of MHS.